For 10 years, I believed my marriage was simply difficult, not broken. Daniel worked late, traveled often, and always had an excuse ready before I even asked a question. I ignored the perfume that wasn't mine, the phone he guarded like a vault, and the silence that grew between us like a wall neither of us wanted to climb. I told myself love required patience. I told myself every marriage had storms. What I didn't know was that while I was patching cracks in our home, he was building an entire second life somewhere else, one filled with laughter that no longer included me. The first time I confronted him, he didn't deny it gently. He mocked me. He said I was imagining things, that stress was making me paranoid, that no sane woman would accuse her husband without proof. I had no proof then, only instinct. And instinct doesn't hold up in an argument with someone skilled at rewriting reality. He convinced his own mother that I was unstable. He convinced our friends that I needed help. Slowly, I became the villain in a story I hadn't written. While he played the patient, misunderstood husband everyone pitted. I spent years doubting myself more than I doubted him. I saw a therapist not because I was crazy, but because everyone around me insisted I might be. I smiled at family dinners while he squeezed another woman's hand under a different table across town. I learned to function inside a lie, so large it had its own gravity. But somewhere beneath the exhaustion, a quiet part of me kept collecting fragments. A receipt, a hotel confirmation, a message left open for 3 careless seconds. I didn't act. I waited. I watched. The final betrayal wasn't an affair. It was a wedding. His wedding. To her, he filed for an annulment based on lies so elaborate that even his lawyer seemed uncomfortable, claiming I had abandoned the marriage emotionally years earlier. He wanted a clean, guiltless exit, a fresh beginning with a woman he had loved since our 3rd year together. He didn't think I would find out about the date. He definitely didn't think I would show up. But grief has a way of turning into determination, and determination doesn't ask for permission. I spent 6 months gathering everything I needed, not to destroy him publicly, though part of me wanted that, but to finally stand in truth instead of shame. I hired someone to trace years of hidden transactions. I found messages backed up on an old cloud account he'd forgotten, still synced to a shared family tablet. I discovered the affair hadn't lasted months, as I once feared, but nearly the entire decade of our marriage. Reading it didn't break me the way I expected. It clarified me. For the first time in years, I understood exactly who I was dealing with. On the morning of his wedding, I dressed carefully, choosing something simple, elegant, and deliberately unforgettable, a deep emerald dress he once told me made me look like someone people couldn't ignore. I wasn't going there for revenge theatrics or a dramatic scene ripped from a movie. I was going because I refused to let him rewrite history one final time, with me erased entirely from a narrative, as though those 10 years hadn't happened, as though I hadn't given him my 20s trying to build a home he never intended to keep. I walked into the venue just as the ceremony was beginning, and heads turned before I even reached the aisle. Daniel's face drained the color the moment our eyes met. His bride looked between us, confused, sensing something was deeply wrong, but not yet understanding what. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply walked to front, holding a folder I had prepared, and asked the officiant for 1 minute before they continued. 1 minute, after 10 years, didn't seem like too much to ask. I spoke calmly, my voice steadier than I imagined it could be. I told them I wasn't there to ruin a wedding out of bitterness, but to make sure no one else built their future on the same foundation of lies I once trusted completely. I placed the folder on the table beside the guest book, documents, screenshots, dates that overlap with our anniversaries, hotel records timed suspiciously close to our own vacations. I didn't need to read them aloud. The silence in the room did that for me. His bride's hands began to shake as she opened the folder herself, flipping through pages with growing horror, realizing the man she was about to marry had spent a decade living a double life while insisting his first marriage was a problem, not himself. She looked at Daniel, waiting for an explanation, but for once in his life, he had none ready. The excuses that always came so easily to him evaporated under the weight of undeniable evidence laid out in black and white, time-stamped, and impossible to explain away as misunderstanding. Guests whispered, some quietly gathering their things, others simply staring in stunned disbelief at the man they thought they knew. Daniel tried to speak, stumbling over half-formed denials. But his bride raised a hand and told him to stop, her voice trembling with a mixture of humiliation and fury. She removed her veil, set it down gently, and told the officiant the wedding was over before it had even truly begun. She thanked me, oddly enough, for showing her the truth before she made the same mistake I once had. I left before the chaos fully unfolded, walking out into the afternoon light, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Not triumph exactly, but release. I wasn't crazy. I hadn't imagined a decade of pain. I hadn't destroyed my own marriage through paranoia or instability, as he and everyone around him insisted. I had simply survived a slow, quiet betrayal disguised as love, and I had finally reclaimed the one thing he tried hardest to take from me, my own version of the truth, undamaged and undeniable. In the months that followed, I rebuilt slowly, not dramatically, not with movie-style reinvention, but steadily, day by day. I stopped explaining myself to people who once doubted me. I stopped shrinking to make my pain more comfortable for others to witness. Daniel's second engagement collapsed entirely, and whispers about that wedding day followed him long after I stopped caring to listen. I didn't need his downfall to feel whole again. I only needed to stop being told my own reality wasn't real. And finally, for the first time in 10 years, I believed myself completely.